Greetings. Thanks for joining me today for another money health conversation. I'm glad you're here. It means a lot. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. This is Derek, and I started the Money Health blog to help you make smart decisions with your money and increase your financial health. How do you feel when money conversations start? Think about that for a second. Okay, I come up to you and I say, hey, we need to talk about your spending. Or I say, hey, how much do you make? How much did you spend on that? What are you going to do to bring more money in? Your spending's out of control. Why do you have so much debt? Okay, this is very, very scary stuff for a lot of people. There's an old saying out there. I learned it from Ted Klontz is his name. I'm not sure if that's who the originator is, but that's where I learned it. He said the 4 scariest words in the English language are, we need to talk. And it's actually even scarier if you tack on about money after that. We need to talk about money. And that's because money is just a very, very scary thing to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about money. Professionals don't want to talk about money. I was actually listening to a podcast with a very famous, I guess he's a speaker, author, former financial planner, and somebody asked him, how much do you make when you give a speech? And he didn't know what to say. He didn't want to answer. So everybody has these problems. You know, it's not just you and me. And the reason is because there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of anxiety and stress involved in money. A lot of expectations baked in. And with money conversations in particular, it's very common for something called emotional flooding to happen. So think of your brain as 2 parts. There's a little bit more. I mean, we can go into 3 parts of the brain, but I just want to talk about the logical brain. This is the part that you think about when you think about your brain. And then there's the subconscious part of the brain. And if you've read Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, that's what I'm referring to right now, System 1 and System 2. So most of us think of ourselves, me, myself, and I am thinking the thoughts. That's the thinking brain, the logical brain that we're thinking about. Little do we know that 99 or up to 99% of all of our decisions are made without our knowledge, the knowledge of the logical part of the brain. These are happening by the subconscious. These are happening by the animal parts of our brain. And just we don't have the time to make all those decisions. You hear a sound of a big bang, maybe a gunshot or something, you jump. What was that? You see a stick in the ground, you jump. Might be a snake. Okay, it was just a stick. But we have to err on the side of caution. Because if we think it's a snake and it's a stick, that doesn't bother us so much. If we think it's a stick and it's a deadly snake, well, we're out of the gene pool, right? That's it for us. So the emotions happen in that subconscious part of the brain. And when we think about emotional flooding, actually, let me take a step back here. So the whole brain works together fine if everything is going along hunky-dory. So think about a rider riding an elephant. Okay, that rider can control that elephant in times of normal stress levels or no stress. Right? You can tell the elephant to move left. You can tell it to stop. You can tell it to go right. You can tell it to back up in some cases. But if there's something that spooks that elephant, you don't have a chance of controlling that elephant. You're just along for the ride. You have no control over it. That's kind of how that brain works too. When too many emotions flood us, or when too many emotions are causing a lot of stress, there's a flood of chemicals to the brain that sends the signal that, hey, we are in trouble. We need to get out of this. Something bad is happening, and I need to end the situation now. So think of a trap door in between these 2 parts of the brain. And in times of high stress, the subconscious part of that brain shuts that trap door, okay? And it says, I don't have time for you, logical brain. You take way too long. We're in trouble. We need to get out of this. And so the logical part of the brain has no idea what's going on. It's just along for the ride. After the stress is done, after the subconscious saved us from ourselves, either through fight, flight, or freeze, slowly those chemicals start to leave the brain. And then that trapdoor opens up, logical brain comes back online and says, what did you do? I didn't need to say that. I shouldn't have said that, or I should have said this. Why didn't I say that? Because you weren't thinking. Your subconscious was thinking for you. So this happens not just with money. This happens all over. This happens with conversations with your spouse about all kinds of things, but including money. Money is the number one cause of stress, anxiety, and marital issues out there, and this is part of the reason why. So that's what happens. You come back online and you say, oh man, now I got to pick up the pieces of what my subconscious just did. This is bad news. So what can you do about that? Well, there's a couple things you can do about that. You can increase your awareness, your mindfulness, and start to think this is not an overnight solution, but think about times going forward, or try to anticipate. I'm getting really angry. I'm getting really sad. I'm getting really happy, too happy, right? I'm getting really, really afraid, mad, sad, glad, afraid. And then try to put that together with times when you might have blown up, or, when the subconscious took over. If you do that enough, you're going to be able to sense in yourself when this emotional flooding is going to happen. You're going to be able to sense in yourself when that trap door is about to close. And that's good, because then you can say, I need to take a break. I need to go for a walk. And you do not think during this 30 minutes about what just caused you that stress. That's not going to help that trap door open up. So you need to go for a walk. You need to meditate. You need to pray. You need to play with your animals. You need to do something. Read read a fiction book. Read something that will take your mind off of what just happened. That's the long-term solution. That one's not as easy. The second one is to plan for conversations, and that's kind of what this cartoon is about this week. Surprising and ambushing people is almost never going to end in a good result, right? Like, I'm walking, just having fun, going about my day, and you jump over here and you say, Derek, we need to talk. We need to talk about your TPS reports. Office Space reference. It doesn't have to be money, but almost always it is. But hey, we need to talk about something. I'm completely caught off guard. My risk of that trapdoor shutting is now exponentially increased. I'm probably already defensive. Now that's different from, hey, do you have time to chat with me tomorrow? I think I'd really like to discuss A and B and C. There's just been a couple things on my mind. I think it'd be good to hash some things out. Sure, yeah, great. Now we're both prepared for the conversation. Neither of us is getting surprised. Both of us has a chance to prepare. And that's going to go a long ways towards preventing that trapdoor from closing. Now, if you're part of a couple, one thing that you can consider is going on money dates. This is a situation. You go on a date and you talk about money. That's really it, a money date. You go on a date to talk about money. And what you want to do is you want to get on the same page. If you had agreements, like some people have budgets, right? So nobody owes the other person any explanation if the purchase was less than X dollars. I don't want to say it. It varies per couple, but if yours was $50, I don't owe anything to my wife if I buy something less than $50. If it's over $50, we have to have a discussion about it. For some people, that's $100. For some people, that's $1,000. It just totally depends on your situation. But use those money dates to talk about those agreements, or different buckets of money: yours, mine, and ours. Those are I guess those are kind of separate accounts. That one's a little bit harder because you have to open up different accounts. But what do you want to do in the future? How do we see our life next year? How do we see our life and our finances in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? Let's talk about those things. Are we still comfortable with our use of debt? Are we still comfortable having a mortgage? Are we still comfortable with our careers and our jobs? Do we like where we live? These are kind of conversations to have during money dates, and that's all you talk about. It doesn't have to be, but tends to be all you talk about. Conversely, I want you to also have no money dates. No money dates, not no money dates. I'm getting myself all kind of worked up over this. But this is a date where you do not talk about money. No money talks at these dates. No money dates. This is very helpful, especially if you're a couple that fights a lot about money. And it might be even stressful to go out and have a date. Because you know that my partner is going to bring up money in some capacity, then I'm going to get all stressed out, and then we're going to have this big fight, but we're already out in public, and this is really embarrassing. I really don't like doing it. Nobody wants that to happen. So if you make an agreement ahead of time that, hey, this is a no money date, we're not going to discuss money. We can discuss our family. We can discuss our values. We can discuss vacations that we want to take. That might be getting a little bit into money because those cost some money. But let's use these no money dates as a chance to connect with each other without the fear that you might throw a zinger at me, without the fear that I'm going to start harassing you about your spending. Okay, this is a great way, especially when you work both of these together. I think there's a lingering fear for a lot of people that I'm walking on eggshells because they're going to bring up this money stuff and I don't want to talk about this money stuff. When conversations have to happen in between these money dates, again, can't stress enough, do not ambush somebody. That's a fast track to a bad outcome. Ask for time to talk at some future time and what's on your mind so that the person can prepare, ask questions, be ready for your questions, and you guys can have a friendly conversation, a healthy conversation about money. So I think if you utilize some of the tricks and some of the tools that I talked about today, you might be well on your way towards having better money conversations. So I really hope this helped you, and I hope that you find it useful. If you like what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends. It really does help. And you can learn more over at moneyhealth.blog, where you can see all the previous articles, videos, and podcasts. And there you can sign up for the Money Health newsletter, and you'll be the first to receive access to the new articles, videos, and podcasts. So until next time, be well.